Well, we're back, and we have another really interesting. We're going to go from the world of actors into the world of writers. And our next guest this morning is Anthony Puyo.
How are you doing?
Welcome, Anthony.
Thank you.
Nice
Thank
to
you.
have
Nice
you
to be
here.
here. Nice to be here.
Now, I get always excited with authors because I just am so interested in how and when you started thinking about writing.
The writing, I've been doing it. I can go back to like second grade, but I've never went through and just finished up. I mean, I did when I was a child. Of course, you have to. Of course, you have to finish when you're a child, obviously. But I never finished anything as I got older. I did do a script in 2007.
Oh, play script?
Yeah, a movie script in
movie.
but I never submitted it because I was busy, had family, just never submitted it. But I learned a lot from that process.
Isn't that true? I mean, you think you're just wasting your time and nothing's happening, but all the time you're getting better at what you're doing and finding out little things that have changed. I know with me, I had the hardest time because I used to say certain things a certain way, and now they don't do it that way anymore. So you make a lot of changes as you go along.
Yeah, so by learning how to write a script, you find out the differences between that and book writing. So what happened is I decided to write this story. I had some time. I had some unfortunate things happen, and I had some time to actually do this. So I started writing the book, and I just wanted to do something different. And I know a lot of people have dreams to do this or change the world in certain ways, and a lot of times, they're just not going to happen. So, but writing this book, I really did want to bring readers back, or people that don't read, get them into it.
Oh,
That's was just to go. Now, will it happen? I don't know. But so what I wanted to do was write a book that was more fast-paced, kind of like a movie. So when I wrote this, I wrote it kind of like I would say a cinematic read. Everything comes a little faster. It's simple enough that if you're, let's just say you're an English teacher, you could read it and you'd be fine. You should be happy. But let's just say, you work on a dock somewhere.
right.
Maybe you just finish high school or whatever. You should be able to pick it up and read it and have a good time as well. I just wanted everybody to be able to read it.
Oh, fantastic. That's exactly the way I feel about it. I want people to realize that there's a whole many worlds in these books. Everybody has something that they're offering, and most authors do it really because they want to help people. And so this is a very, very, very wonderful idea.
Yeah, and I'm not big on movies. I was in the past, but to Hollywood's gone a little stale. You see a lot of the same stuff, repetitive.
Oh, for sure.
And when I started reading, when I started writing this, I started to read more books because I wanted to see how to do it. I want to see how the professionals do it, and some of the stories they're okay, but there was some really good ones. And there's things you can get in books you just cannot get in a movie. You just can't.
Definitely.
For instance, in this story, it starts out simple enough as a man trying to reunite with his family during a very cataclysmic event. In this event, I want to say roughly 50% of the population gets hit with this infection. Now, it's not an infection like you've seen in most movies, where you need needles and doctors to get rid of it. It's not that kind. And I don't want to give away too much. But what happens is this happens all over the world. So countries fall because it could affect anybody. It can affect the president. So this is going all through the world. And this story just focuses on the main character, Craig, who's actually trapped a city away. He's in Oakhurst when this happens.
Oh.
He's a broker, a commodities broker, and he's trapped up there. And he doesn't really know what's going on, but he's involved in this incident. So all he wants to do, like I would believe most people, if something like this happened, would want to get back to their family.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And so that's his goal, and that's how it starts out, really simple. Just a man trying to get to his family. But if you can imagine, if you walked out there into the city, downtown Fresno, and imagine if half the people just got infected, and all their goal was to eliminate who wasn't infected, just to outright kill you. outright, it would be pandemonium everywhere.
That's for sure.
You know what I mean? It would be crazy. And so as he's trying to get into Fresno, he sees this. I mean, it's going to be really hard just to go 5 miles down down the street. It's going to be tough. And this is where the story branches out and it gets more complex, because now you're going to meet people that are surviving too, and they have their own goals, and it gets even deeper than that, because once you form groups, you're going to have groups of people that say, we want to leave this, we want to get away from here. And you may have other groups that, God forbid, but probably see it as opportunity.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I mean, you got prisons, you know what I mean? You got all these institutions, you got, let's say, like, for instance, soldiers. If there's no communication, you're always going to have your good soldiers. And, obviously, I appreciate that. But you may have some that are like, what, we have training. And we're going to want to do things our way. And it gets really complex, really deep, a lot of emotion. It's a serious read, even though it may look like it's some type of zombie thing. It's not. It's a drama. It's a drama with a horror world built around it.
Oh my gosh, that has to be hard to write a book like that with so much that you have to weave together.
You know what? For me, it really doesn't work that way. I don't do storyboards. What I do is I write, and I just want to get my ideas on the paper, and then I'll go through it and construct it. Does this make sense? Does this not make sense? And then you go and you construct it and construct it.
Yeah, that's great. That's the way I like to work too.
Yeah, and then 3 years later, that's how long it took. So you're not going to see another one of these from me for a while, because they do take a lot of time.
Oh.
They take a lot of time.
Well,
And there's a lot of love in there.
The Compelled. That's
Yeah.
a great name for it.
Yeah. And
Oh.
there's a lot of love in this book. It's kind of like when you go eat someone's dinner at someone else's house. There's some people that just throw things together and you kind of tell, you eat it, whatever. And then there's those people that love to do what they're doing, and you get it. You eat that food and you're like, wow, that was really good. And that's how I would say I constructed this book. There's a lot that goes in it, a lot of emotion. The people that have read it, the reviews, I've gotten text, hey, why does this happen? You made me cry, or whatever,
Yes, but that's the best thing, because when you're touched emotionally, you'll remember that, and you'll think, oh my God, I got to read something else of his.
Yeah. I mean, I hope so. I do have. I'm gonna start going to shorter stories, but for right now, it just came out. I'm hoping to get Fresno to read it. And we'll
That's
see
so
what happens.
fabulous that it's about Fresno. I mean, so many writers, they write about things that are all out there, but to write something that's right in our own doorstep.
Yeah.
I think you're going to have a really, really good audience for this, Anthony. This is really interesting. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's got a really interesting cover on it. Did you have hire an artist to do
Yes.
that?
Yes. I went through the whole thing. Got the artist. Paid for all those things. I had to pick an artist. I found one, and that was tough. And then this is actually a scene in this.
Oh, in the book.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And where were the people? How would people buy this?
Well, I would always tell people to go to my Facebook first, if you have a Facebook, because all the information is there. Whether I'm going to have an event or whatever, it's all going to be there. Some people I know still haven't jumped onto the Facebook. I mean, it took me a while. And for those, you can just go to Amazon. You can Google it. Always put Anthony Puyo's The Compelled. And the reason why I did that, because a lot of authors don't do that. They don't put the apostrophe. They don't claim it. They just say like Dean Koontz, Frankenstein.
I never thought of that.
This is more like I would say a movie type thing. Maybe it's just the influences I had, but when you look at that, if you just punched up The Compelled, you'll probably come out with 50, 60 things. If you punch in mine, then it's gonna.
Oh, yeah.
It's my personal work,
Definitely.
and it'll pop up, and you can get it on Amazon, any of those channels. And as far as bookstores, I'm in the works. I'm talking to some of the local bookstores. I'm not going to do Borders most likely, because there's certain requirements to get into a Borders. But the local bookstores, I'm going to try to get into those, talking to a few of them. And it's like anything else, if the public wants it, money talks. they will carry it. They'll get a hold of me. They'll get a hold of me. They'll find me, hey, we want some of these books in there. So.
That's for sure. What's the other thing I was going to ask you? Oh, it went right out of my mind.
It's okay. It's okay. That happens to me plenty of times. I can tell you something. You brought up Fresno. Why Fresno? You know, I have Fresno pride. You know, I've lived in the Valley all my life, and I've spent most of my adult life here in Fresno. And when I wrote this, I didn't particularly think of those things. What I was thinking was, hey, I know these places. I used to be a truck driver, and I know all the streets fairly well.
Right.
And I said, you know what? Why don't I base it here? Because that eliminates a lot of research. Because
Oh,
when you,
sure.
as an author,
crime or whatever, you gotta know. You gotta make sense. Whether it's believable, you know what I mean? You get, you know, even if it's made up, you still want it to sound believable. So I just thought it would be easier.
That's great. And what is your website again?
That would be facebook.com, and then, you know, I think it's a / and then you put Puyo's The Compelled with the P capitalized, the T, and the C. And that'll get you there. And like I said, as far as Amazon, you can just look that up. It should pop up right away.
Okay. Well, Anthony, I'm excited about this book because I think knowing more about your own home and your own area is really important.
Are you a reader?
Oh, I'm a reader and a writer.
Oh, really? Really? Okay. Do you like horror stuff, or, you know, I mean,
Sometimes.
sometimes it can be a little creepy, or...
Sometimes. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on. It's been enjoyable. If you have a book signing or anything like that, come on back. Or for
Okay.
your next book, come on back.
Oh, definitely. I mean, this is cool. I really enjoyed it. My first time doing something like this. Really enjoyed it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
All right, thank
We'll
you.
be right back.